Hey there. Today I'm going to discuss a paper written by Smith et al. Titled Cyberbullying, Its Nature and Impact in Secondary School Pupils. As an overview, Smith uses the definition for bullying put forth by Olweus in 1993, which is an aggressive, intentional act or behavior that is carried out by a group or an individual repeatedly and over time against a victim who cannot easily defend him or herself. And Smith inserted the words, using electronic forms of contact to make it specific to cyberbullying. In reviewing the past studies that have been done on cyberbullying, Smith recognizes a few limitations, namely a lack of the full range of media being covered. Past studies have focused mainly on text messages and emails, but have completely ignored the rest of the vast range of media that exists. Also, they've lacked a full analysis of gender and location effects on cyberbullying. So Smith set out to do both of those things in this study. This paper describes findings from research studies that cover 7 different media where cyberbullying occurs, namely text messaging, phone calls, email, chat rooms, websites, instant messaging, and pictures/videos. To collect data, Smith and his co-authors conducted 2 studies using surveys to find out more about cyberbullying. In the first study, they surveyed randomly selected students from 21 schools in London school districts. The students surveyed represented a range of socioeconomic backgrounds and a reasonably representative ethnic mix for the London area, including whites, Afro-Caribbeans, Black Africans, Indians, and Chinese. Survey results were then tested with focus groups from another 6 secondary schools in the London area. Using a semi-structured format, pupils were asked what they thought the study had found, as far as the incidence of cyberbullying overall, by media, in and out of school, age and gender differences, and perceived impact, and why they thought this, and they were then told the actual findings and responded to that. Study 2 was very similar to Study 1, but it differed on a few questions in the survey. Study 2 asked about the extent of students' internet usage, as well as the best ways to stop traditional and cyberbullying from lists of alternatives. And Study 2 was also given to a reasonably representative ethnic mix, except for a low proportion of black pupils and a high proportion of pupils from relatively advantaged backgrounds. So what did they find? They found a lot of stuff. Students' perceptions were very interesting. The studies found a significant difference in students' perception of the occurrence of cyberbullying based on the type of media. So over 45% of students were aware of cyberbullying occurring through pictures/video clips. Only 12% were aware of cyberbullying occurring in online chat rooms or thought that cyberbullying occurred there. However, these perceptions didn't correspond with actual occurrences of reported cyberbullying. The 2 most common media for reported occurrences of cyberbullying were instant messaging and phone calls, both with approximately 15% of pupils reporting having been victims or bullies of that type of using that media. And as far as gender and location is concerned, in both studies, cyberbullying occurred more frequently outside of school than in school. They differed, however, the 2 studies differed when it came to traditional bullying. Study 1 reported traditional bullying being more common outside school, whereas Study 2 reported it being more common in school. The paper was inconclusive as to why this difference existed. Girls were much more likely to be cyberbullied and to be bullies in general. This corresponded to popular opinion, which stated that pupils generally thought that girls would be more involved in cyberbullying than boys. So with that data, Smith and his co-authors, they come up with a few solutions. When asked what the solution to cyberbullying is, the most common response by students was to tell someone, such as a student or a parent or a teacher. 73% of pupils responded this way. However, this response contrasted sharply with reality, with what students actually did when they were bullied. In fact, only 24% of students said they told either their parents or guardians or an adult at school when they were bullied. Smith and his colleagues, they summarized their findings as such. If there is an increased reluctance to seek help for victims of cyberbullying, it is important to find out why. Adults may seem less informed about cyberbullying issues and therefore less likely to be approached. This remains an untested hypothesis from our data, but if substantiated, would reinforce the need for awareness raising amongst teachers and parents about cyberbullying and preventative measures. So as far as the recommendations, Smith concludes that many parents, having been raised in a time without cell phones and the internet, aren't able to understand the widespread nature of the problem. A basic understanding of technology and its potential uses is necessary to combat cyberbullying. So parents, moms and dads in the home need to talk to their children about it and learn more about this problem. Also, many large anti-bullying programs are geared toward traditional bullying. These programs need to be adapted to cyberbullying to be effective in today's ever so connected world. Well, there you go. That's all you need to know about Smith et al.'s Cyberbullying, its nature and impact in secondary school pupils.